We are crotchety old men.
And a crotchety woman.
We are crotchety old men.
And a woman.
I am crotchety. She is crotchety. We are crotchety old men.
And a woman.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of We Are Crotchety Old Men. And a woman.
And a woman.
It's been one of those days today where the episode that we were going to have completely planned out is not going to happen, as our guest, Rebecca from what's it, Blacksburg? Yeah, Blacksburg, Pennsylvania, Virginia. Um, she is passed out on the couch. She's about 5 yards away from us, and she had too many oyster. What are they? Oyster bombs, or
No,
what were they called?
oyster shooters.
Oyster shooters at Aw Shucks. That's the name of the bar at the Renaissance Festival we went to. I've had a couple too many meads myself, and yeah, it's been one of those days. So our guest is actually passed out, so we're kind of winging this for a change. I actually got the email, so I'll be reading them. Abigail has not had a chance to look at them, so we're gonna just jump right in and see where this goes. So the first email comes from our old pal Jen from Ashland, North Carolina. Jen, I know you don't want to be on the show, but you gotta do it just one time. You got to be in here because you've written us what 4 or 5 times, and we actually haven't read a couple because they were a little juicy. But this one was directly towards Abigail, and it says, "Abigail, what are your thoughts on Senator Fetterman's dress code? At first, he was allowed to wear shorts on the floor of the Senate, and now he's not allowed. He has to wear pants. But she also said, do you know what type of pants that he can wear?
I don't know about all that. All I know is what the fuck is wrong with this country. That they're going to change the dress code for one person who is crazy, who's had a stroke, has brain damage, and he's wearing shorts and a hoodie. And he's allowed to serve on the Senate floor, and bipartisan support voted to allow that. That is just reprehensible. And I just was speechless when I heard it, when I heard that. And, thankfully they went back on it, and now, the dress code stands. And he does need to basically wear a suit and tie.
Oh, he does have to wear a suit and tie. I did not know that. I thought he
That
just had to wear pants.
no, I think he's got to dress up like
Yeah.
he should. But as I said, my father, God rest his soul, I'm glad he's not here to see this. He would just be freaking out, and we all should. That we've got so many problems in this world, but the Senate of the United States felt it was so important to actually take a vote to change the dress code.
Right. Meanwhile, you had, remember Senator Lieberman?
I sure
He
do.
wasn't allowed to wear a yarmulke at one point.
That's right.
So I wonder if Fetterman is going to go back to standing in the doorway in shorts and yelling his vote. I'm just wondering that.
I don't know.
I'm just really happy it was bipartisan support that voted to actually stop this, and that just shows that hey, we
It
can get along a little bit just to make sure everything
it
goes
was a
well.
disgrace.
Speaking of disgrace, this next one also for Abigail again, from our buddy in Washington D.C., Jerome. Jerome asks, Abigail, did you see that uh, the native group is behind? They're actually now suing the NFL and the Washington Commanders because of the name. Like,
Yeah, I mean, Jerome, I don't know what to tell you, but they basically, this Indian group, or should I say Native American group,
thank you.
they are suing basically because of the erasure of the Redskins' identity. That team, our team, the Washington Redskins, were the only ones that had a Native American for its emblem that celebrated the Native American heritage. So their point is they took away their rights, and therefore the name should go back to the Redskins. And the main thing is the logo should go back on it as well.
That's, and we actually went over the logo. Who wrote it? Well, I don't remember if that was episode 9 or episode 10 where we started to do that. But do you actually do you know the song? Do you know the fight song for the
I do,
Redskins?
but I'm not saying.
You're not gonna sing it for me.
No.
Okay. Well, we have one more email for you.
All right.
From Harriet of Boring, Maryland. First of all, I did not know there was a Boring, Maryland. She wants to know, Abigail, what is your favorite movie and why?
Really?
Yeah.
I
I read that today and I was like, I gotta ask her this question.
okay. I'll go out on a limb here. I'm
Okay.
gonna say Rocky.
Rocky.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love the ending of Rocky?
But he lost. You're okay with that?
I'm okay with him saying, "Yo, Adrian,
Nice. All right, you're all
I
fired up.
did it. I did it." And the music playing, who doesn't get pumped up for that?
And useless fact, the turtles that Rocky bought are still alive, believe it or not, and he still has them. So those were from 1976, and he still has those turtles. Link and Cuff.
Amazing.
Useless information for you folks. So those are the emails that I could read on the air. There was a few others that were a little too inappropriate that I saw. Maybe I'll read those to Abigail later. But we went to the Renaissance Festival this week, and we actually had a unique time, and we were mostly people watching. But we actually didn't even realize the difference between the Renaissance Festival and medieval times. So medieval times, first of all, is a restaurant where they have people dressing up as knights and they're jousting, etc. But this is based on the actual Renaissance, which started in the 1400s and ran pretty much through the 1700s, where we then had the Industrial Revolution. It started in Italy, I think, and I'm trying to remember the name of the family. There was one big family it wasn't the Da Vinci's. It was the
Massini?
uh,
Um,
yeah. It was the Medici's. Duh, sorry. And they actually they were bankers. They had 3 popes. They actually influenced some of the greatest artists, like Leonardo da Vinci. There's the Da Vinci. That's why I couldn't remember him. And also Michelangelo. And their family just started this huge. Uh, they brought money. They brought art. They brought music. So basically, the world after the Middle Ages. So anyway, that's what this festival was all about.
well, Arden, I went into it pretty blind. I didn't know what to expect. All I know is we parked and we got out, and all these people were changing in the middle of the parking lot into these very, very interesting outfits.
In fact, I was a little embarrassed for myself being next to Abigail and Rebecca when this one lady, she was right next to us, the car next to us. There's 2 kids that get out, and the mom was pretty much naked, putting on her outfit. And I mean, she looked great for her age, but yeah, you had a 3/4 naked woman standing there with her 2 kids and her husband, and we're just walking past. Hey, how you doing? I mean, that was an interesting time. But you had the Renaissance Festival is probably the most diverse group of people you'll ever meet. I mean, there was no one I didn't see. Maybe people there weren't any people dressed up as in oh no, I was about to say space people, but there were people dressed up as Mandalorians. There was a couple of those. But you had pixies, you had elves, you had pirates, you had Vikings, you had steampunk guys, you had monks, you had nuns, what yeah, we had the pirates. You had everything. And the only thing I didn't see that I was actually hoping to see were people dressed as dwarves from Lord of the Rings. Like you didn't get like the shorter guys who were stocky, were like big long beards. That was the only thing I didn't see. But you had everything. You had every nationality. You Rebecca during dinner was actually telling us that she thinks she saw people like dressed as like geisha girls. I didn't see them, but
No, I didn't either.
you had every class of people. You had people who spent a fortune on their costumes.
Yeah, I mean the true Renaissance people in costume, their dresses were amazing.
Yeah, and did you see the price of the one?
Yeah, I looked at one dress, $1,500, but it was beautiful.
So you had those people, and then now this was a question that I just proposed to you. Not no, I didn't propose to her. This was a question I proposed, not that proposal, and we brought it up. So this is me being possibly sexist. So I'll get that out of the way. Women there can make themselves look more attractive. I'm trying to phrase this correctly. Please don't smack me. But I asked, were there any guys there that can make themselves more attractive? For example, if you're a good looking guy, you're a good looking guy. You can make yourself look worse. But like if you were just some fat dude, walking around like a barbarian, and there was way too many guys who were way too big, way too fat, without shirts on, wearing like a bear skin, that's not attractive. But you had some pretty hefty looking women and some pretty ugly looking women, but they would put on their bustiers and their whatever things, and you guys had to look. I was looking. I was like, damn, what the hell is that? So did you see any guys that looked better?
No.
No.
And and it doesn't surprise me. I mean, either you're hot or you're not.
Right. I mean, the place was interesting. And you had, when we say all groups, I mean, you had straight people, you had gay people, you had the transgender people, you had white people, black people, Hispanic, Asians. Yeah. I mean, even nationalities, religious people were there. And then you had, we even saw Trump people wearing Donald Trump shirts, and no one was yelling at each other. Nobody was saying, hey, how you doing? Like it was such a friendly time to be in. So that was actually really cool. And the food, okay, I was expecting the food to be awful. What did you have that you really liked?
Oh, the funnel cake French fries.
And how good were they?
They were fantastic. I even went back for seconds.
Seconds. I had sausage on a stick, and I thought it would be like disgusting. It was incredible. I and also got a chocolate shake, eh, also with real ice cream. It was amazing. I was like, wow. And then, of course, well, we know how the oyster shooters went for some people, and the alcohol lines were like they were so long. There was food everywhere, and it was really really good. Some of us had those big long 6-inch round pickles, so I didn't want to tell you about the one man's pickle, but he was bragging about how big his pickle was and how round and firm it would be in his mouth, in someone's mouth. Yeah, and that actually was happening. So it's even though there was a lot of little children there, there was definitely some overtones that I don't know if that was the Renaissance, but man, that was
Time
incredible.
out.
I'm sorry.
Abigail did not approve of those last statements, but let's go on.
It was pretty raunchy at times, but we went. And the big thing I remember as a kid going to the one in New York was the joust.
Hmm.
So this joust was so effed up. It was incredible. So you literally had, your normal nights and everyone was cheering. And of course, Abigail was in love with the foo guy with the long flowing hair and the long beard. And he's the only guy who didn't wear armor too. But he could ride a horse. I'll give you that. But so it's a normal, the guys are jousting, they're doing their tricks. But then the ending was just bizarre.
Hmm.
Literally, so like the knights are fighting, normal stuff, and all of a sudden, like the knights chased each other in, except one knight was left. And this squire, who is also like the guy who like cheers on, gets the crowd all pumped up, he starts fighting the knight. Then all of a sudden, the other three knights come riding in on chariots, not on horses again, chariots. Okay, I thought chariots ended during the Roman times, but they come out, and you had one knight. He was driving the chariot while his squire was fighting the other knight. So the chariots go back in. That squire jumps off, and he's fighting the main knight. Then our cool knight comes out, and he throws his sword down and runs towards the other knight and just pretends to punch him in the face. We all of a sudden had some WWE action. So then it gets even more crazy because the good-looking knight is fighting with our guy, my knight, yeah, because he's bald, and they're like doing some punching thing. And the princess comes out with a gun and shoots him.
Dang.
Like silence, actually. Like there was silence in the arena. She literally shoots the guy, and then she says, come back at 6 o'clock for the battle of these two. They're gonna fight to the death. She just shot the guy. How was he gonna fight to the death? It was total bullshit. Like it was worse than wrestling. It was horrible. At that point, it was time to go. It was super hot. I had too much to drink a little, as you could tell. And so it was pretty crazy, pretty funny. It was fun time. I wanted to give a shout out to oh, there was one that Mr. N would not have appreciated. While we're in the crowd, a lantern fly, I didn't know what it was, landed on my neck, and it went like under my shirt, and Abigail had to save me. And she, like, I'm squeezing it. I didn't know what it was. It could have been a hornet, a wasp. And she's like, it's a lantern fly. It's a lantern fly. And she killed it. Like she like ripped its wings off and slammed it. Meanwhile, like the people in front of us and the people behind us are not even noticing. I'm totally panicked. It was horrible. Oh, it was bad. It was bad. Did you have any other thoughts on what you saw and like the types of people you saw? Because that was intense.
It was mind blowing. I mean, I would recommend that, if you can go, go. Even if you're not into it and don't want to get dressed up, it's a great place to people watch. And, the food, as Arden indicated, was fantastic.
It was, yeah, people watching there. We sat down for a while. We would sit down for like 20 minutes and just watch the people that would walk by. And we wanted to have like a little booth where we set up like numbers, like how good your costume was, anything from like like one to like 10. So when like the people with the really expensive costumes, they were like 10. Another person like walked by, we're like 2. Boo! Like you didn't even try. It looked horrible. You might as well be wearing the. I had an American flag shirt on. You could have, you could have easily saw me. I would have given myself a 0, but like it was so fun. So that's really what we got on the Renaissance Festival. But we did have some other unique stories that we were working on. This was before we actually had a plan with Rebecca. So we have didn't know if you've heard these stories. These were in the news. So the first one was this in the with all of the rain that hit New York City,
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of flooding. The Central Park Zoo had so much flooding that one of the sea lions, it actually was able to get out of its enclosure. It jumped out of its pool and was swimming around in the Central Park Zoo. Did you see that?
No, but it sounds adorable.
It was, and they have video of it. And his handlers, I'm saying he, it could have been a she, but the handlers watched it the whole time. And as the water started going down, guess what it did?
What?
Jumped right back into its enclosure. So that was actually kind of cute. Then we had, speaking of animals, by the way, this is all for Mrs. Alfred because she loves animals. The Philadelphia Phillies were decided that a emotional support alligator is not allowed. So that poor guy could not, and the alligator is named Wally Gator, and he is not allowed to be an emotional support alligator brought in. He has an Instagram following and even a Facebook page and a Facebook following. Boo on the Phillies. I'm giving you a boo. Boo. I mean, the people of Philadelphia booed Santa Claus, for goodness sake. So, you would think they would let an alligator into the baseball game. What are your thoughts? Can you bring an alligator to a game?
No,
Can you bring a dog to a game?
absolutely.
Can you bring a cat?
No.
Goldfish. Sorry, I'm just gonna keep naming. Maybe a sloth. The other things were in the news. So Oscar Mayer, about 4 months ago, decided that the Wiener Mobile was actually offensive to people. So they actually changed it either to the hot dog mobile or it was just changed. They didn't want to call it the Wiener Mobile. It was called the Frank Footer Mobile. And 4 months later, because no one liked that name, have decided that the Wiener Mobile is back. So if everybody likes their wieners, Oscar Mayer, the Wiener Mobile is back. So that was big news. Is any product that you can think of that disappeared that you would want back?
Well, I heard that Twinkies has been changed.
Oh my God, yes.
And I haven't had any lately. I know that I used to love them, but from what I read, they no longer taste the same.
My brother and I actually got Twinkies. We were going to share it with his kids. And in the old days, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was sugar or something. When you used to eat a Twinkie, it had that little, it was like a crunch almost. That's gone. It's been replaced. They just don't, that funky cake taste is not there. They're nasty now.
Mm.
So Hostess, you're also getting a boo. Boo! You ruined Twinkies. Yeah, I mean, give us that cancer-ridden stuff. Maybe it was cheaper. I don't know. And the last story we had, this is actually new. So in Wisconsin, because of the hurricane, I think it was Hurricane Ida, we had 5 flamingos were found. They were found in Lake Michigan, right in Wisconsin. So flamingos in Wisconsin. So like, if you're sitting there, you're fishing for what's it, that walleye or something like that, and you see a flamingo, or you're like, dude, you drank too much. There's no flamingos in Wisconsin. Have you ever seen a flamingo in person?
No.
Really? Yeah. Interesting. I would have thought you would be. So, anything on your side of for any news or comments or anything? Anything crazy?
You know, I can't think of anything right now. I'm pretty tired. It was a long day.
What outside of the funnel cake? What was your favorite part of the Renaissance Festival?
Probably just watching the people in all the different costumes. It was incredible. Some people were very creative. Some people clearly spent a lot of money on their outfits. And then there were some, handmade ones. And it was, as Arden said, it was just surreal.
Was there any one costume that or person or persons that stood out? For example, there was a couple for me. One was the unicorn guy.
Yes.
That guy, I mean, like the guy wore like chaps, and he had a unicorn head on, and he was just having a good time. That guy stood out. The guys who were dressed up as Vikings, those guys were ridiculous with their shirts off, with the head. They were interesting. The first time I saw the Mandalorian guy, I thought that was kind of cool, but then I saw another one. I was like, all the themes from movies, from like there was cartoons, from games, and I don't know them as much, but I knew some. Like there was people who were wearing from the Legend of Zelda series. There was those guys, the steampunk guys. There was one, the Monty Python and the Holy Grail. One guy dressed up as the wizard Tim. I'm Tim. I was like, wow, that's so impressive. But you had people who you had tried to have guys from like the Game of Thrones. Those were pretty impressive. There was a couple guys who had full suits of armor. That like I don't know how much that costs. I mean, and how hot it was. It got really hot there, and you're seeing those guys, but it was just Interesting. I'm glad I went. I'm good for at least a year. And if you've ever had mead, totally different than like any other ale or things like that. So that's our review. Oh, we did meet some possible guests there also. We met April, who is an author. She was writing some books that were kind of Renaissance-ish, and she agreed to be on the show.
Arden used his charm.
I did. And then the lady next to me, who her and her daughter dressed as elves, and she was a teacher. She actually, her name was Tabitha, and she wanted to talk about, like how our generations have changed. I'm like, you're dressed as an elf, and I'm having a serious conversation with someone who's dressed as an elf. And she actually said she wants to join our show. So the show is growing. So uh, Abigail, do you know how to reach out to us at all?
Yeah, I mean, we have our Gmail email address.
Oh, and what do you know what it is?
We are crotchety old men at gmail.com.
Awesome, awesome. Now here's the tricky one. Do you know our Twitter handle?
You know, Arden, I'm gonna have to say I don't because I know it's slightly different,
Slightly.
but I just can't remember where.
It's actually just at crotchety old men at X or Twitter, and so you can find us there if you'd like to reach out to us. And you can. We are looking for guests, especially for the month of October. We want horror fans. We want to know about horror movies. We want to know about what scares you, what goes bump in the night. What are you going to dress up as in Halloween? Fun stuff like that. So for the entire month of October, besides our regular guests, where we want people to email us, text us. I'm sorry, that mead is kicked in, and we want to talk to you. So with that, we are crotchety old man.
And a woman.
We are crotchety old man.
And a woman.
I am crotchety. She is crotchety. We are crotchety old men.
And a woman.
Good night, everyone.